Ever dreamed of galloping through French forests like a fairy tale princess? Well, I did it as a complete beginner and I'm about to share all the details. This month, my friend and I went horseback riding in France, and I wanted to share a review of this holiday and costs as a beginner. And at the end, I'll share you my best tips to save money on this type of trip. The first time my friend asked if I wanted to go on the holiday, I had zero horse riding experience. No lessons, not even a pony ride as a kid. So I was scared, but I'm always down for a new experience. Before we dive into the trip, let me tell you how I prepared. I took 4 horse riding lessons. Each lesson cost £50. I learned how to brush the horse and clean its hooves. I took the lessons in London where I was living at the time. It was £4 for helmet and boot rental. I practiced riding for 30 minutes in each lesson, almost always with someone leading me. I also paid £2 as a tip for the person leading my horse. Comment below if you want to hear more about my horse riding lessons in London. By the end, I had 2 hours of riding experience. Not much, but it helped. Choosing where we go. The place we picked is called Accommodation ALF. It's a 40-minute drive from Paris. The 2 other options we looked at were in Italy, one at a Castle Christina that had no bookings available, and the other was a Hotel Pratico in Italy. For a trip like this, when you're a beginner, I recommend 3 days of riding and 1 evening the night before so you can get there in the morning fresh, because you'll probably want to ride in the mornings. If you watched my previous video on surfing with zero experience in Morocco, you might have seen our usual schedule with surfing in the morning, relaxing in the afternoon, or more surf practice, and my body was ready to give up from soreness by day 4. So I thought for horse riding, I'd do a similar schedule. Morning rides, afternoon relax, or maybe another ride in the afternoon if I was up to it, and 3 days because I knew by day 4 I'd be super sore. The comparison between Italy and Paris were as follows. Accommodation was a 40-minute drive from Charles de Gaulle Airport. Okay, so we've just been driving about 30 minutes, almost 40, because I think I took a wrong turn somewhere, but it was a pretty easy straight drive, mostly highway. Okay, missed that turn, that's okay. I was more comfortable driving in France than in Italy. If we got bored during the holiday, we could easily escape to Paris. If there were any injuries, we could easily get to the city. Also, we wanted to see castles, and there are 2 great options in the Oise region that we would be in, including Versailles. In Italy, the hotel we looked at had a €200 transfer fee from the closest train station to the hotel, and the hotel was more remote based on the reviews. I'd have to fly into Italy, take the train, and then take another shuttle to the hotel. I thought it was a big hassle, and I'd lose most of the day in transportation. There is a medieval town, but from the photos, I thought the castles in France would suit the princess vibe we were going for better on the holiday. France was the better choice also because the day we arrived, Tuscany had a thunderstorm warning and it rained every day of the holiday. It still rained the first day in Paris, but it was fine because we were riding through the forest, which was mostly a covered ride. It's raining outside, but we've got our lesson at 9:15 this morning, so we're gonna head over. First day, got the car. At first I booked an electric car, but upgraded to gas even though it was more expensive. I thought that there would be enough charge stations on the way, but the car we rented was slow charging and I would have to upgrade to a Tesla, and then I just got cold feet driving electric because I've actually never driven an electric car before, and starting in a foreign country was not the move.
What happened?
Exciting! We are in our car now.
We just got to our car.
It was really hard. I went through customs twice.
Well,
and also we couldn't decide if we wanted to get an electric vehicle or gas. And so we're gonna also show, we ended up getting gas just to be safe, but during this trip I'll try to check out what the electric charging situation is like. I had requested dinner for us when we arrived, so it was there, ready to go. We ate it while walking and exploring the grounds. So we are getting food.
Microwaving it.
Yum. Still a little cold, but yeah.
Sorry, I tried to do 3 minutes, but it is a little.
Then we used the pool, which is a heated pool. The pool water itself is regular temperature. It's just the building inside is warm. Ooh, so we are the only people in the villa tonight, apparently. The room we stayed in was big, and there's even enough space to grab 2 yoga mats and do yoga inside our rooms if we wanted. It was worth it to get the queen size bed. It was €155 per night. There are cheaper rooms, but I prefer to sleep more comfortably in a bigger bed. We were the only people staying in the space, and the rooms are going for 90 euros for a small single room. We came during the weekdays, which seems to be quieter and cheaper, even with the room upgrade. Also, you don't have to drive. For the transfer, if you arrive the evening before, they plan a pickup at Charles de Gaulle Airport for 45 euros, but I highly recommend staying the night before so it's more relaxing. As you can see from the exterior, there's a lot to do just on the property. You could enjoy pool time, gym yoga time, they have yoga mats. There's also a hammock, you could hike. You don't have to get a car rental to go see the chateaus. I'm super glad we did because we wanted a princess holiday, so going to see the chateaus was a big appeal for us, but it might not be the same for you. First day riding the horse. Join us riding. They said that it was okay to wear sneakers, but I actually really wish I had brought boots. Any boots with heel would be better. It's just a bit safer because the heel can hook against the saddle sides. We had one guide, 30 minutes of stable management, which is grooming the horses. Okay, so we're doing some stable management right now and just brushing the horses. And the plan is to go riding in the forest in a bit.
Yeah.
Followed by 2 hours of riding through the forest, mostly walking. Sharon, say hi! We tried to trot, but my friend's stirrups were too long and her boot kept slipping out. It's always better to have your stirrups too short than too long. Maybe even start day one with them purposely too short so that you can be sure you won't hurt yourself riding. Okay, so we just finished our rides with the horses. And overall, my horse in the beginning kept rearing his head. I'm just gonna push him away. Yeah, overall, my horse we got to trot. Oh, okay. Then we drove to Chantilly Château. Okay, so we got our food for lunch, which is being warmed up right now in the microwave. This chicken and veggies. And then we have our tickets to two places. Château de Chantilly, and then also Pierrefonds, which is where we're going on the last day, and then Chantilly, which is the first place we're gonna go. Which is nice. Nice that they got us both tickets. Originally, my friend wanted to ride the horse there, but it's a 45-kilometer ride with 12 kilometers of cantering and would take 7 hours in one day. We didn't have the experience to do that, so I drove 25 minutes to Chantilly instead and still had a great time. Also, a tip is to park outside the chateau, not at the official parking lot, which is 5 euros, but parking outside the stables where this racing area is. You can do a whole loop, see the chateaus, then go to the royal stables, and then walk right back to the car. So we just walked and we did a really great loop, and now we're getting back to our car. This is the ideal path. Outside the path of the grand stables and walked from the chateau to the stables, now back to our car. It was pretty perfect. And I spent less than 3 euros. I would recommend getting 3 hours on the parking meter. In the afternoon, we went to Decathlon to buy new riding boots and helmet in case that would help our ride. Also, the prices were super cheap, so my friend went on a whole shopping spree. Day 2, just us riding again. Two guides in the morning ride, we got to trot, and then in the afternoon we did another 2-hour horse ride with a guide, and there was some trotting and walking, but we didn't get to Canter because the paths were more steep and there were stones. A family arrived in the evening. Apparently it's possible to just book a room because it's listed on Airbnb too and not come to the horse riding. I don't know why you would do that. We're about to use the sauna because we rode for 4 hours today, and now we've got this beautiful sunset in the back, and this is our last day. Tomorrow morning we'll do 2 hours of horse riding, followed by Pierrefonds Castle, Château de Pierrefonds, the town around it. Then we'll drop off our rental car back at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Overall, I would say when we were looking at booking horse riding holidays, it was a bit of a struggle to find one. What we found were these package sites that were pretty expensive, and so it seemed easier to find out what hotel or horse riding stable was associated with those package holidays, and then contact the hotel or stable directly in order to have something more customized. If I was to do another horse riding holiday, since I've done it before, I would just want to have a bit more flat trail so I can trot. Trotting was the most fun part. I don't need to go too fast. I don't need to go to a canter. I think trot is pretty comfortable. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think you can get seriously injured at a trot. Tomorrow we might get up to a canter, and if I was on a plane, I might try gallop. Again, I'm a beginner, so I don't know if you can get this kind of experience outside in a different place. I mean, I have nothing to compare this to because I haven't been to any of the other horse riding holidays in the US or anywhere else. Day 3, Friday morning. Okay, Friday morning was the first morning. It wasn't just me and my friend horse riding. This time maybe 4 others joined. We got to trot a lot and even got to canter. Then in the afternoon, we went to Pierrefonds castle. My friend got cheese and ate it with bread from breakfast while I got some kind of ham thing. Both delicious. Pierrefonds castle is one of my favorite castles now, and I've been to a lot. I love how it felt like we had this whole area to ourselves. There was a lot of time and space to explore. On the way back, the major highway got closed and we had to drive an hour out of the way to get back. My friend set a bunch of waypoints because both Waze and Google Maps kept wanting us to return to the N2 highway, and we didn't want to avoid all highways, so she set waypoints for me. We ended up returning the car 2 hours late and getting charged a whole day. Europe car only has a 30-minute grace period. Things I wish I had done to save money. Book via Hertz. They have a more lenient late policy. Also, with Capital One Venture X card, I get some higher status, which I think means even more lenient of a late policy. Also, book gas to start with. It's just a lot easier. If you've only driven gas, just book a gas car for yourself, even if it's more expensive. Also, I wish I gave myself 2 hours to get to Charles de Gaulle instead of an hour and a half of buffer time. Give yourself an hour of buffer time because the whole diversion created when the major highway got closed, like there was some kind of prime minister conference, well, that caused a whole lot of delays. And some more tips for enjoying the trips. Do a couple lessons before you go on a horseback riding holiday. Don't assume that they hold the reins the same way in Europe as in America, and don't assume you'll get lessons because this is more about a chill ride, so you're not going to learn as much about technique and exercises as you might in a lesson. I strongly recommend learning how to ask your horse to walk faster because if your horse walks super slow, it will be a bit boring to ride through the forest and you'll hold up the rest of your group. Our guide kept asking us to ask the horses to walk faster and I struggled a lot with it. It was easier to ask the horse to trot than to walk faster. Get the right gear. The Decathlon is a sports goods store only 10 minutes away from the place we stayed, so it was very easy to stop by Decathlon, and it closes at 8, to pick up some boots. They said it's fine to wear sneakers and they do provide helmet, but just to be more comfortable, you might as well buy your own. Overall, we spent 1,320 euros on the trip, not including the cost to get to Paris and return. Here's a full breakdown per person. That was 660 euros per person for just the horse riding part. For me, I extended the trip to go see Versailles and spent the whole weekend in Paris, so it was more expensive because I took the Eurostar from Paris back to London and stayed in a hotel in the 15 arrondissement with 2 other friends who I met up with after the horse riding holiday. Let me know if you want cost and itinerary for that trip too. I would recommend Accommodation. My friend and I loved having the place to ourselves. Weekdays seemed the best, and I liked how easy it was to get there. Driving, you can easily go on the road. I thought the roads in France were a bit narrow and I hit the curb more than once on a turn, but I was way too scared to drive in Italy. My last tip about finding the right horse riding holiday for you is to ask about custom packages. This trip is listed on Book Horse Holidays, but I thought 3 days of riding was perfect for a total of 8 hours. If you do find a package, I think it's best to chat with the stable or hotel directly. Please leave a comment if this inspired you and if there's any other questions you have about this. Thanks for watching.